So a dad busted his 16-year-old daughter with drugs, and what he did next has us talking. So she was caught smoking pot several times, but once her dad discovered an aquarium in her closet filled with magic mushrooms, he called the cops. Her mom is furious, and the dad is wondering and wrote on Reddit, "Do you think I did the right thing?" Well, DBL Nation, was this dad tripping? I didn't write that.
Okay, Misty from Facebook says, the dad overreacted in this case, but if it got violent, then yes, call the cops. I just think the girl was 16 years old. Like, you can't call the cops. Once you call the cops, you involve the law in it, and you're going to be footing the bill as the parent if you want your child to not be in trouble or to get them out of trouble. So I think there's other ways. Start with therapy, perhaps. Why is she doing this kind of thing? I don't know. But it just seems like a lot to get the police involved.
It really does. All right, Paul from Facebook says, if you're going to pay to get them out of jail, go for it. Paul, I don't know if I'd be so flippant with that. Anytime you call the authorities to take your child away in handcuffs, whether you're trying to make a point or not, you don't know about the long-term effects that that's going to have. I don't know if you can ever expect your son or daughter to trust in you again after the last time you did it, a paddy wagon showed up in the driveway.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, Anna agrees with you, too, from Facebook, says, deal with it within your family. Don't have the law all up in your business. Not only is the trust totally gone, the whole conversation's missing, right? She's smoking pot. They asked her to stop. She wouldn't. They did a drug test, and now she's escalated to mushrooms, right? Something's going on with her. She's trying to self-medicate, and you need to talk to her about it instead of calling the police on her. She's 16. Handle it within the family.
Right. Mary from Facebook says, if I thought my child was dangerous to others, I would call the cops. Otherwise, I would fiercely protect. And it's kind of like that movie Blow. Have you guys seen it?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
When the mom called the cops on him at the end when he came back from Mexico, and I was just like, who does that as a mom? I know it was the morally right thing to do, but kind of like, that's your kid still, even though he's grown and in way more trouble than the 16-year-old. You got to try to help your kid. I think that's like always expected.
Even in that case that you just brought up, Ray Liotta, who played the dad, was mad at the mom.
Yeah.
And I wonder how this spouse will feel, you know,
She's
because
furious. The mother's furious.
I mean, but going forward, I don't know, like, I would be like, kind of, who did I marry? I really would question that, you know.
And he questioned it on Reddit, which makes me think he has a very guilty conscience. The father, the husband who called the cops, was like, I think I overstepped.
Right.
And if you make a decision like that, that's pretty permanent if it goes, you know.
Yeah, that's
like,
a big overstep.
It's a big decision to make to not know and not be sure.
How about you consult your partner first?
I agree with you.
I digress.
No, you
Dan
don't.
from Twitter says, you're supposed to protect your kids, not ruin their future. Dan, I kind of feel you, and I think we were just saying that on the panel. We all take kids using drugs very seriously, but you have to also understand that a lot of, like what Lindsay said, you have to understand that the trust needs to be there as well to talk about drugs. This is going to be an evolving conversation over the course of a lifetime. It isn't just, don't do drugs, all right, glad we handled that.
And I think in this case, they weren't married, so there might be partners, but do you still talk to somebody that you're not married to about what you should do?
Yeah, that's your kid, that's your business.
Absolutely.
Like, if you guys aren't married anymore, but you guys still own an ice cream shop, you know, you still talk about you still talk about the business, and your business is your kids.
It's just how I feel about sort of, and I may be talking too much, but in the way the 80s always handled drugs of like, just say no. There was no discussion of like, but what about addiction and what about problems and self-medication? And once you open that up, people are much more willing to talk with you.
Yeah.
It just seems
We're
so
just getting
rigid.
over that mentality.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like, just
don't do it.
Straighten yourself out. Why don't you, if you love me, you stop drinking like it's a disease.
Right.